So what I want us to do is to start becoming more conscious, start choosing things in a better way for ourselves, and start creating a life that's going to gear us to really take advantage of the opportunities that are going to show up for us in the years to come.
This podcast is brought to you by The Integrated Human. We work up, down, inside out to plug yourself into your potential. If you want to see what we are up to and what's next, sign up to our newsletter or follow us on social media. If you like what we are doing, we really appreciate it if you can like our post on social media and YouTube and help us grow.
All right. Welcome to the Big and Small Podcast. I'm Jason Shields and I'm big.
And I'm Marit Gabrielsen and I'm the tiny one.
Yep. Back in the saddle with my bestie. So, it's cold. I was scraping ice off the windows. Winter seems to be here in September, which is ridiculous.
Welcome to Norway.
Welcome to Norway. So, ADCC, Abu Dhabi Club Combat, was an amazing event. And we saw somebody who has made giant waves in grappling.
For the people that are not interested in Jiu-Jitsu, that is the Olympics of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Basically. And it used to be wrestling and Kenpo and all kinds of crazy stuff that would show up, and Sambo and all these other martial arts you probably haven't heard of would get together and test who's the best, right? But there's this Sheikh Tanun who, when he was in university in America, started training in New York, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Nobody knew that he was a sheikh, and he changed his name to Mo and kind of went undercover. And this is the guy who started the ADCC, which is, again, like Marit said, now have become basically the Olympics of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or grappling. They call it grappling because it's not traditional in that everybody is not wearing these kimonos, which is like if you've ever seen judo or karate, they're wearing a kimono. It's like the Japanese way of dressing. So the traditional Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu will have that, or Japanese Jiu-Jitsu will have those. But this is basically in the same kind of clothes that you would see somebody surfing in, like a rash guard, tight-sitting top, or with no top and then shorts.
Yeah, and for the people that are not, again, interested in Jiu-Jitsu, you're going to get something out of this episode. It's not a Jiu-Jitsu episode. Hold on.
Yeah.
You're going to be good.
Yeah. We're not freaking you out, right? It's going to be fine. So the whole point is that the interesting psychology around bringing attention to something. When a person like Conor McGregor and MMA, or Gordon Ryan, who's now the champion of the ADCC, a lot of people, when they're trying to bring attention to a sport or to an event, weirdly enough, being a super nice person, which is normally a good tactic in your everyday life, and the more you take care of people and you're nice and shiny and smiley and positive and supportive, you kind of build your network that way. Well, when it comes to advertising, it's almost opposite. People want the scandal. People want the fight. People want the aggression. People want the nastiness. So when Conor McGregor, I'm pretty sure most of you guys have heard about it, or Muhammad Ali, they talk trash and they do it well. They do it really well.
Yeah, that is an important detail. They do it very well.
Yeah, exactly. They're intelligent, they're well-spoken, and they drop the hammer on people. And, float like a butterfly and sting like a bee. It's like Muhammad Ali was the master of this. It was poetic. And that would, be in the newspapers and on the news. And Conor McGregor, he was flashing on interviews and flashing on the news and all this stuff. But Gordon Ryan's taken it to a whole nother level in that the Twitter, the Instagram, and the Facebook fights that he's having with people, he's
not only having it with the opponents, he's also having it with the fans of the opponent.
Yeah, exactly.
So he's even more engaged.
Yeah, so he is bringing so much attention to these events because he's just the best worst. He's the best of the worst. He's the worst in the best way. And he's so efficient with this that people are loving to hate him. But what's even worse is that or worse, or even better for him, like the worst best, is that he's so good at the sport that he's actually able to do what Muhammad Ali said. It ain't bragging if you can do it.
No one can beat that guy.
The guy is he's a superhuman, you know. And he not only fought his way through a bracket of fighters that were much heavier than him, but then took a super fight with a legend, a 6-time basically Olympic champion, and beat that guy definitively. Like, no question.
There's no question.
No question. So it's like when you watch the fight, you're just like, ooh. And the psychology around that, I mean, everybody wanted to see this fight because there was like a scuffle and a slap and some pushing. And I mean, it really built itself over, I don't know, how many years has this been going on?
Well, it got postponed because of COVID. So it's been going on. Because usually this is every second year because you have a lot of trials to, like, it's not just to sign up to get, it's hard to get into these rounds. And so I think it got postponed a year. So I think it's 3 years now.
Yeah, exactly.
It's usually every other year, but they got pushed because of COVID.
Yeah. And it's a whole nother level, you know? And that's the interesting psychology around it because the behavior that makes you successful in your everyday life, weirdly enough, is not the behavior that you seem to need to have a giant effect on your advertising value. Because in the sport of grappling and then in the MMA as well, and mixed martial arts, where they kick and punch and do all the wrestling and stuff, the people who are getting paid the most are the people who are the best worst. But they also seem to have to back it up, of course. If you're just somebody running your mouth and pushing people down, then, and you get beat up, then everybody just, you know, you get ridiculed. But weirdly enough, that ridicule actually does kind of come when these greats of the best worst fail, and finally, because people get low and high. They get so high on the fact that Conor McGregor is beating everybody and he can never lose. Of course he's going to lose. He's getting older. He's getting injured.
He's only lost the last couple of years.
Exactly. So everybody's super high on the fact that, you know, he can never lose. And then they get shocked when he loses. And the question is, how many of those fans then stick with you? Right? And the people who are in the sport who have been consistently good the whole time and been kind of nice, they don't get paid as much. But at the same time, when you mention Marcelo Garcia in grappling, for example, or you mentioned Jack Hermanson, you know, people love these guys because they are just super duper nice people. The question is, will they in their lifetime make as much money as a Gordon Ryan?
Oh, they will never make as much money.
Exactly.
I don't know, but I think Gordon Ryan made at least 10 million crowns, $1 million dollars this weekend, at least.
At least, yeah.
That's before the sales of T-shirts, before the sales of DVDs and Technique.
Yeah, it's insane.
They
right?
make so much money.
Yeah, and the average person in the sport that's a competitor can hardly pay their rent. Think about that.
I would imagine that Gordon stands for 90% of the money in Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah, exactly.
Something like that.
Exactly. And that's the interesting thing, because the normal human behavior that we expect and want to be around, weirdly enough,
It's not what we celebrate.
Is not what we celebrate and not what we pay. We pay for horror films. We pay for drama. We pay for the scuffle. We want to see the scandal. People watch road racing for the wrecks, for the accidents. Most people, weirdly enough. It's so strange.
No, it's not strange because it's strange, but it's not strange. People with everybody is not to hide. The economy is worse. We don't have as much money anymore. In Norway, the electricity is going up. Like if there's one thing I never thought I would be worried about in Norway was electricity. Like it's raining all the time, especially here on the west coast. But now, like,
And we're hydropower.
and now all of a sudden, electricity is an issue. Food's going up. Everything's going up. But still, people rather escape and use over a month wage to go to Spain on vacation instead of going to the chiropractor with the whole family for a year. It's the same price.
Yeah.
Just a plane ticket
Yeah.
of going with the whole family to a chiropractor once a month to improve your health is the same price as plane tickets to Spain.
And it's scientifically proven it will improve your health.
But we don't want long-term stability.
Yeah.
You want the escape to Spain, the escape to Las Vegas. You want the escape.
You want the
because
hot sizzle in the pan.
You want the contrast. You want something different.
Yeah.
So when you go home to watch TV, you don't want to watch very plain, clean stuff. You want to watch the stuff that pushes some buttons and makes you feel something.
Yes.
Angry or happy or
Sad.
at least different
Yeah, exactly.
than being in the hardworking thing that you are doing every day. Although the hard work every day is the one that's going to pay off at the end,
Yes.
make you live better, make you live healthier, and so on. But that's not what we want. That's why we go on Instagram. That's why you scroll 200 meters with your thumb every day.
Yeah, that's it. Isn't that weird? It's weird. And of course, it seems logical. And part of that comes from our primitive brain. Because what is your primitive brain actually interested in? It's interested in what's dangerous. So you're constantly looking for what's dangerous. And the more your sympathetic nervous system is activated, the more oversensitive you are to smaller and smaller things. So it's kind of like your nervous system is hyped for survival because you're on your fifth Starbucks of the day, and your adrenal glands are pumping out like, I don't know, like an oil pump, an oil jack in the middle of the Texas oil field. You know, it's just going crazy in your system. Your stress hormones are at the top, and then somebody just touches you and you jump through the roof. Whoa! Whereas if a normal person touched you when you were chilling and present in your body, you probably wouldn't jump through the roof. I mean, of course, some people will because they're on watch all the time anyway. But the whole point is that small changes in your environment become giant changes in your environment when you're stressed out. Your sympathetic nervous system is when you're stressed out, it's activated.
That's why often, well, I have this experience is that if you are super annoyed, that thing that's been slightly bugging you for 3 months, now it's enough.
Yeah.
Now that's a big issue, and if not, someone is not fixing that, if your husband don't clean that up, now you're having a shit fit.
Yeah.
Because that thing, that is the contrast, like Jason just said, that it becomes a really big thing because everything's turned on.
That's it.
The whole board, your whole control panel inside of you are blinking red.
Boing, boing, boing,
Everything's
boing.
red, not a green light inside.
Exactly. And that's the whole thing, that when we are overstimulated on the stress side of the scale, then small things become giant and we start looking for danger. We start looking for conflict. We start looking for contrast. And the contrast from normal behavior to the best worst behavior becomes interesting. The need to go to a horror film to make your everyday life relatively feel a little better because it's a horror show with different things in your life or whatever, or you're just super hyped and you just need contrast for your everyday life. We search for those things and we'll pay good money for them. I mean, seriously, if you think about it, you're going to pay money to feel sad? I'd pay money to not feel sad. Well, if you pay money to get the crap scared out of you because you're going to a horror film, I won't pay money for that. I mean, they should pay me to be there if I'm going to be put myself through that. But we still, when we're stressed out and we need that contrast, we look for it. Now, the other side of the nervous system is called the parasympathetic nervous system. And that's the resting, digesting, and long-term planning. It's the one where you're making babies and digesting your food and repairing all the small tears in your arteries and fixing the meniscus that you overstrained when you went for that jog. And, it's when you can calm and zen out and think about your life in a big scale. But when you're stressed out, your sympathetic nervous system's on, your focus becomes very one-pointed. It's this or that, this or that. But when you're chilling and you're parasympathetic, then you can kind of take a step back and go, okay. It's not just this or that, but it's like this and maybe later on that thing, and then maybe after that some other things, right? And then you become less interested in looking for conflict. You become better at making long-term decisions for yourself. But in this high-paced, crazy-ass, never have time, never get enough entertainment, never have enough new clothes or last gadget society, which one of your nervous systems do you think is activated constantly?
The chill one.
Right?
That was the trick question. It's not the chill one.
No, it's the sympathetic one. Your mobile phone peeps and the tones on those are geared to create a survival and stress response. So you have to look, you have to see.
Oh, no, you also have it connected to your watch.
Oh, yeah, it's on you all the time and it's vibrating.
It doesn't help. Who was I talking to the other day? I can't remember. My memory lately is not on point, but I was eating something with someone. And anyways, this person had a watch on because that was what I remember. I can't remember who it was, but I remember what it did. And we had our phones away because we're trying to be more conscious about not having our phone on and not being on the phone. And he has a smartwatch on, and I can see the logo of Outlook pop up. So he got a mail, and he looks at it, and because it vibrated, so he kind of got like
shocked
and looked down, and I'm like, if I think about how many mails and most of that is spam anyways, and Snapchats and Instagrams and Facebook messages and messengers and normal messages pops out every day, and you have that on your wrist.
Yeah.
And it vibrates every time.
Exactly. It's not good.
It can't be good for your stress level.
Yeah, and it's not good for your state of awareness either, because you're constantly being pulled away from what you're doing to your watch. I mean, when I'm in with my patients, I don't have any of my mobile gadgets with me because I really feel that my patients deserve my 100% attention. But so doesn't your husband or wife or kids?
And I had this discussion because we had the meditation event last week, which was great. Amazing people there.
Yeah, and amazing results.
We people that watch us on YouTube, they say we can see that we have these rings on, and this is not a commercial for them.
This is not paid promotion.
It's not paid, but we have these Aura rings, and it just kind of measure your steps and heart rate variability and on. Check it out if you want. It's not a commercial, so I'm not going to tell you more about it. But the difference was that one of the people at the course asked about the ring because they had a watch, and she said that she had an issue with the watch because she got pulled into it all the time. She was looking down at how many steps she had taken, how many
heart rate,
she was constant, and she actually got told at work to take off her watch because she was getting too distracted with it.
Yeah.
And I said that's why I quite love the ring, because I get all the data, but I check it twice a day. I check it when I wake up to check my sleep and heart rate and readiness, and then I check it when I go to bed or when I get home to see if I've been active enough that day, if I can feel good with laying on the couch, or if I only walked 3,000 steps and I'm not sick, I'm good, maybe I should walk the dog instead. Yeah. But I check it 2 to 3 times a day. But if you have it on your wrist, how many times an hour do you check it?
Well, that's the whole thing. Is it invasive technology or respectful technology? And the ring is respectable technology. It's giving you information without taking over your life, right? But
because you
the
can
watch,
take it off and look at the ring.
yeah,
But that doesn't give
doesn't
you
tell
much.
you anything,
Doesn't
right?
tell,
Yeah.
and it doesn't vibrate and it doesn't light up.
Much. I mean, of course, there are lights on it, but that's only to tell you that it's still working.
But
it
it's
doesn't-
not.
it
It's not
doesn't-
on
you have
your
to-
wrist.
No, and you can't really see the lights unless you take the ring off. I mean, so yeah.
And I saw I was doing my 200 scrolling thing yesterday on Instagram, and it was was a picture about the issue with smartwatches, and it was this lady that was shaking her wrist and come on, work, because it didn't light up, and then she was going to bed and it was light everywhere because now it works.
Yeah.
So it also lights up during your night, and it's just invasive.
Yeah, it's invasive technology, and that's part of the whole weird thing. And we're over caffeinated. Yours truly. We are overstimulated. Yours truly. And
go
we
on
are
that one as well.
over invaded. Yours truly. We are completely primed. Weirdly enough, as if we are waiting for somebody to attack us, when most of us live in a everyday life that's quite easy and simple and safe, and we have enough. And you have to ask yourself, how can you be actually stimulating? How can you be stressed out? And you're like, oh, but I have this and this and this and this. Yeah, but how many of these things actually, if you sat down and really looked at them, how many are necessary? How many of these things that are hitting your consciousness constantly, how many things that are popping up on your screen that you actually don't need? If you just took a week and tried to pick away the invasive things in your life that didn't give you anything, how many things could you actually get rid of?
No, most of it.
Most of it. There was actually a time with all this, without all this crap, right? And weirdly enough, there are people who still live. I'm not saying you should go back to the 1980s, back in the caveman time, without the mobile phones and all this stuff. But I'm just saying, if you take away a little bit of your plings, a little bit of your notifications, a little bit of your
Make a
invasive
decision
stuff,
around it.
make a decision. Just kick it a little bit to the side. Now, I'm not moralizing around it. I'm just saying that healthy way of living is it looking for conflict and looking for escapism and looking for contrast and paying money for that stuff? Or is it rather building a better, easier, healthier life?
But people don't know that that's what they're doing.
That's the whole point. And that's why we're talking about this today.
People have we're not aware, not people. I'm not talking about you specifically, dear listener. I'm talking about general, us people. We're not aware of it. We don't know that's what we're doing.
Yeah, because it starts very, very subtly.
And then we do that thing, and then we didn't realize why we did it. We didn't realize it didn't change anything. The only thing we realized is that you still feel like shit, and now your bank account is in the minus. That's the only thing we register, and then we try for another thing, because if the trip to Spain didn't work, then perhaps a girl's trip to London is the right thing to do. And we continue and continue and continue, and then all of a sudden you're on TV and having issue with the bank, and you become a part of the show that people watch.
Yeah, exactly. That's often what happens, because you feel so shitty. You feel like you deserve a break, and then you're creating a situation where you're paying the money that you don't have to get the break that you wouldn't need if you took care of yourself.
That's the thing. I had a conversation with my husband the other day, and because I'm this is gonna be a podcast later when I figure out what this stuff is. But right now, only thing I want to go is to Mauritius and lay in the sun for a week, train, drink and eat and sleep. But I also know that's the last thing I'm gonna do right now, because I'm gonna feel like I'm now there.
Yeah.
And I'm not feeling very good right now.
No.
And I think one of the first back in the days, 1.5 years ago, when we started the podcast and Integrated Human, I said one of the things is that I want people to be able to enjoy their cup of coffee everywhere. That it's not their surroundings that decides if they're going to be good or bad or feeling good and whatever, but it's they're in a state. And I know that really would like to go to Mauritius for a week. So that's where we had our honeymoon, and man, it's nice there. But I refuse to go there right now because that's gonna be a shitty vacation. Because exactly. I know if I go there now, I'm just trying to patch up something. But the job is not to patch that up there. The job is to patch that up here. So when I go at one point, I can enjoy it.
Yeah.
So, because really go in yourself and figure out, if whatever it is, if it's going to a concert, especially now when money is short for everybody, figure out if that thing actually going to give you what you want from it or not.
That's a really good lesson.
Because to be honest, if I go to Mauritius, it's going to cost me $5,000.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
In total.
For a week.
Better be worth it.
Better be good.
Because it doesn't matter if that's good. Because if I'm not good, it doesn't matter that stuff is good.
That's right.
You can get first class ticket. You can get pimped and pimpered and rubbed on and not rubbed on and whatever. And it can be so amazing on the outside. But if you feel like shit on the inside, it doesn't matter at all. It's a reason why people that have all that money starts doing drugs.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's...
Before they do meditation and then they realize,
Yeah, exactly.
That was what I was missing.
Yeah, because you fill up on the inside. And that's the whole thing. When you free yourself up on the inside, what's happening on the outside is not the determining factor. Self-regulation is the whole thing, self-regulation. And that's one of the things that all of these invasive technologies take away is your ability to self-regulate. This is a very important term, self-regulate. Everybody's blaming that guy and this thing and this, the electricity prices, and all of those things are factors in your life. They are facts and factors. But how you are as a person, how you feel as a person, what you spend your energy on as a person, how you work on the inside is up to you. You decide that through your self-regulation. So part of the thing is you got to wake up, right? Then you got to grow up. You got to clean up, and then you have to show up. That's the success that you can have in your life. But that self-regulation is part of growing up. And most of us aren't grown-ups because we're constantly being distracted from our own ability to run our inner climate.
Yeah, but we're not aware of that. We're getting hypnotized.
Get hypnotized.
And
not our fault.
You don't know about this because I wouldn't assume that you know about this because, well, you don't use, you don't go to the, again, Dagbladet, which is kind of the New York Times of Norway. I do. It's my way of keeping myself in beta brainwaves.
Often Posten would be that.
Oh yeah,
whatever.
Whatever.
Anyway.
Anyways, the news.
Yes.
And in Norway, actually now, because that has to do with outside, inside. Again, I think this is extremely important right now because everybody's struggling. So again, use your money where they actually work for you and not against you and just feeding into stupid industries. Anyways, it was 3 celebrities, females, with some other person was starting a clinic in Oslo this week.
Oh my God.
Did you hear about it?
I'm so
did?
ashamed. Yeah, I heard about this.
We have to talk about this because 3 stunning, beautiful, grown-up ladies, and this made me ashamed.
Plastic surgery.
They started a company, a shop, whatever, a clinic, focus on aesthetic health.
Aesthetic
health. And they called it Women's Health.
Women's Health.
And like, I'm a true feminist. And it's few things that pisses me more off than when people use money on changing the walking man in the green and red light to a woman instead of it being a man. That we use money on that instead of actually educating women or stuff like that.
Researching breast cancer.
Stuff that actually is important. That pisses me off. But when you also then have 3 famous, stunning women that are opening a clinic for... And it says in the name, aesthetic health. What the fuck?
Guys, I just have to...
How insane is that?
I'm going to correct Marit on one thing. She's not when she says she's a true feminist, she's not a feminist based on what most people think of as a feminist. She is a humanist. She is a top performance.
That is actually true.
She's
Humanist.
she's a humanist. She's a top performing, very tolerant, intelligent, no bullshit kind of person. She understands where the rubber hits the road, and she understands where the gas pedal is and where the brake is. And I'm telling you, this women's health, aesthetic health clinic needs the brakes.
That you dare to put, but first of all, that you dare
You have to tell
put
them the reason why. It's basically they're plastic surgery.
It's aesthetic health. It's a cosmetic.
It's just cosmetic surgery.
It's not about. It would be something totally different if this was about breast cancer patient that reconstructed breasts.
No.
It's about amputee. It's like scars.
Yeah,
that would be totally different. This is about getting fillers and implants, and they're calling it once again. Female health. That's not female health. That's female bullshit. That's a commercial.
Yes.
That's more people feeling even more insecure about themselves.
Yeah.
And then you put that together with breast cancer.
Like you can't be healthy unless your breast look like mine, or your breast look like hers, or your lips look like mine, or my hello? Come on.
It's ridiculous.
It hurts me so deep because it's really showing us how disenfranchised, how separate, how far away from real human values we're getting. Because I'm sorry, guys, I know I'm old and all that in your minds, except for everybody else's my age, but Instagram and filters and all this stupid stuff that people are doing to look just a little better on their pictures has avalanched into, if you don't look like you have a filter on your face when you walk on the street, then you must not be healthy.
But I have to say, it's genius. Because I like looking at things both ways. I think it's disgusting. That's how I feel about it. But on a different level, it's a genius time to do it, because
it's the best worse.
Yeah, it is. It is, because when shit hits the fan, people are struggling to pay their bills. People want to escape. You feel like shit. And then 3 celebrities open up this clinic to fix all of the things on the outside for you. Of course, people are going to buy it.
It's crazy.
It's genius. From a business perspective,
they're going to squeeze that credit card.
It's the best time ever to start something like that.
You feeling shitty about yourself? Get some fillers and the breast implant. That's what's going to make it better.
Because
then you'll be healthy.
Because it's just the same as we talked about midnight TV. It's the same as why you keep scrolling. It's the same reason why Conor McGregor and all that is popular, because you are so stressed out, you don't have any filters, and you just want to feel better, and you have, in this case, 3 beautiful celebrities promoting this stuff. They own it even.
Of course they do.
Of course you're going to buy it.
And not only that, guys, the whole point is that society is, of course, society has a conflict around this because it's disgusting. That's how they're getting attention. They want people to talk about it. Like we're talking about it right now. They want to be criticized, just like Conor McGregor and Gordon Ryan, and want to be criticized because that brings them energy and it gets them paid. It gets them paid. And so doing something unfortunately disgusting is going to get them a lot of attention very quick. So maybe only...
And the more insecure we are, the more money they make on us.
That's the whole point. The more insecure we are, the more money they make. So the 8% of society that absolutely positively needs to feel quote unquote healthy, who is incredibly impressionable, are now going to be magnetized to this place, and they're going to jump all over it because they want to look like those ladies, which they never will because they don't have the genetics or the plastic surgery.
And then you look at it's the same reason why big brands make money of us, because we're walking out. If you go into the street, look at all the logos. Mm-hmm. We're walking around like billboards. And I think I said to you not too long ago, I would like to have, because we were looking at some clothes we're buying, and upgrade, and said, I will have, I understand that clothes have logos on them, but I want to have a small logo as possible.
You don't want to be a
because
billboard.
I don't want to advertise anyone else than myself. I
Yeah.
don't want it to be a, like, you know, these big Gucci bags. I haven't bought Gucci. I don't want the, but
You could
if
have it,
you could have
but you
it,
don't want it.
But you're walking around like a billboard.
Yeah.
And why advertise? Well, if you advertise anything, then yourself, work on yourself.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And the whole point is that brand should associate to you, not you trying to be accepted because you're associating to the brand. Then the whole point is off, you know? If you have to be accepted in your friend group because you have a certain brand on your chest, then they're not accepting you.
Not at all.
You know, that's the whole point. So that, you know, we talk a little bit about the whole individualistic and societal planes of existence, you know? And there are a lot of things going around, like with Jordan Peterson, and they're talking about transgender people and all of this and how we need to accept people. And
He also got a lot of attention and he didn't talk smack. People were talking smack to him.
Yeah, that's the whole point. He put the smack on there. You know, he would say things that were relatively factual but inflammatory. And he got a lot of hate, but that, just like Gordon Ryan, just like Conor McGregor, shot him through the roof.
And because he can back up what he's saying.
Yeah. And he's actually he's not saying things that are hard to back up even. They're just actually, most of it's science or facts. It's just that he's doing it in an inflammatory way.
Yeah.
And it's a big
He puts
pustule.
the statements he pushes very unnuanced before you start going into the material of it.
Yeah, exactly. And he also doesn't talk about his personal stance. He talks about societal stance, which is also very interesting because he then becomes like a lightning rod and everybody wants to see him and hear what he said and stuff, weirdly enough, because it's a contrast. You know, so it's he's interesting. So it's yet another one of those people who've shot through the roof, popularity-wise, by being a lightning rod. You know, the problem with lightning rods is they often have a relatively short lifespan, and on the other side of it, they're not liked very much. It's very hard to become a legend like Muhammad Ali. Very difficult, because it's a whole nother can of fish. Because he was a person who changed the way African Americans were looked at. Where Conor McGregor just changed how much.
Well, he made MMA famous.
Well, he changed the way people were getting paid there.
Yeah, but he also because he made such a big fuss. And he walking around, because he's from a very, very working class family in Ireland.
Yeah.
And he
was inspirational.
He was inspirational, and he walks with so much bling and nice suits, and people usually in martial art walk around like they look like hobos the way they walk around. Like,
yeah, same in jiu-jitsu.
They're not dressed well.
Yeah,
they're dressed like they're going to the gym, but he switched that. Yeah. So you have this nicely dressed. I don't know if like
super elegant,
too much rich bling bling
peacock level dress
guy walking around talking smack.
Yeah.
So it went through all the news. Mm-hmm. So he made the payment, but it also put so much attention on MMA that everybody knows what MMA is now. Have heard about it.
Yeah. So he changed the sport in a way.
Yeah, the same with Conor.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Conor.
No, sorry. Gordon Ryan.
And Gordon Ryan. But Muhammad Ali's different. Somehow he has the heart of people afterwards. So he was, and I think the difference is that he
didn't swear as much.
He didn't swear as much, and he also didn't create as much aggravation or aggro against the other person. He sold himself and a little bit of conflict. But today it's very much personal towards the person they're going to fight. The honor among heroes in a way is somehow missing. And I'm wondering if that's what's going to connect or that's what's going to disconnect them from their future or not. I don't know.
I have no clue.
Yeah. So with that, we thank you guys. And remember, you matter. Unless you multiply yourself by the speed of light squared, then you're energy. But if you can't be energy, matter.
Thank you for listening to our podcast. We hope you felt we added something to your day and hopefully your life. If you want to learn more, subscribe to our newsletter and find us at integrated-human.com. That is integrated-human.com. Integrated Human on YouTube and other social media platforms. Have a great day and thank you again for listening. Love, light, and upgrade from us at the Integrated Human team.